Hey there everyone! With the full release of Risk of Rain 2, I wanted to go and make a small mini-series talking about the lore for the game, and specifically about the final boss. My previous video was talking about the lore related to him, but for this one I wanted to talk about how, lore-wise, the entire area could sort of be improved upon. First thing I should mention is that because this is obviously about the final boss, this video is going to be absolutely full of spoilers, so don't watch it if you don't want to be spoiled. That out of the way, let's start by mentioning what problems I have with the final boss in the first place. As a heads up, I'm going to compare a lot of this game to Risk of Rain 1 because I feel that 1 had a much better execution of the final boss that made it extremely memorable compared to this game. The boss seems to fall flat lore-wise here for a few different reasons, but the first one is pretty simple: his appearance. For Mithrix, I honestly had trouble remembering his name after 3 runs going to fight him, which is a really bad sign. Compared to Providence in the first game, leaving you with a really somber feeling, making you feel almost as if you committed a horrible sin by killing him, indicated not only by his name but also the final ending line. Mithrix doesn't give you that same feeling. When you meet him, he wears nothing but a loincloth and a little piece of rock on his arm. I was honestly wondering, oh shit, we're gonna kill a homeless guy more than anything. The stage is somewhat different from all the other ones, that's true, and the music is somber, but there's too little. Walking him through this area quickly becomes boring, and the music, though it is really cool, don't get me wrong, it honestly just sounds like a lot of the other ones, and it was putting me to sleep. His descriptor, too, doesn't evoke that same feeling either. King of Nothing also is really cool, but it connects and sounds a lot like things such as Crisis Vanguard, which was there for the Stone Titan boss. For all intents and purposes, he feels like just another boss in the game that you have to overcome. And after you kill him, it's honestly a jumbled up mess of emotions. You run away from the final boss as the moon explodes, it's some kind of huge action sequence, and then you get a final line like the first game that makes you feel really wistful and sad and oh man, and then you see Mithrix's head that's growing some plants, and then you're like, oh man, it's hope, oh wow, look, it's amazing. Too many emotions are being thrust into your face at once, and it results in doing none of them really right. This gets me to my biggest gripe with the Mithrix fight so far. Why are we even killing this guy? Mithrix is just hanging out on the moon, and for some reason we just decide, oh, let's just teleport over there and kill him. Providence had a clear reason for killing him. He was on your ship, which was your only ticket off this planet. But Mithrix just exists here in this little purple sphere thing on the moon, and he's not even harming anyone. There's no need to really kill him, not like Providence at least. I will give credit where it's due, however, and I'll do my best to go and explain what I'm thinking the devs were thinking with an explanation of why we're going to the moon, why we have to defeat Mithrix, etc. So I do have to grasp for straws a little bit here to give a full explanation, so do bear with me. I assume that the captain heard the distress beacon of the contact light and heard about the teleporters that you sort of hear in the distress beacon at the opening sequence of the game. From there, he sent down teams to explore the wreck and take as much cargo as they could recover back to the UES safe travels. He would tell his crew that they should rendezvous at the moon for evac because the escape shuttle wouldn't be in danger there, not like all of the monsters that he heard about from the planet. Once the survivors did make it to the moon, they can only hope to leave after they kill Mithrix because he's preventing their evacuation. While this seems perfectly true and valid, this explanation does fall flat, however, for one particular thing. It doesn't explain how the survivors even know that Mithrix exists, that he's a threat to the escape shuttle, or what he's even doing here. Now, I didn't come here to just tear down a game I love so much without thinking it over myself. And if you need a refresher course on who Mithrix actually is by learning about his backstory, be sure to check out the video link up at the top or in the description down below, because I'm going to talk about some changes that need to be made for this fight, especially connecting to his backstory. To give you guys a recap of everything we learned about Mithrix, we know he's vengeful, pragmatic, and wants to create a perfect utopian planet of strong creatures. He represents the uncaring side of nature that only seeks to evolve, get stronger, and not caring about the weak ones left along the way. His brother, Providence, though, represents the nurturing side of nature that creates randomness and joy to the world. Those key characteristics of him are integral to his character, and I think that they should honestly be represented in his boss fight more than it actually is. I think the barren moon, while cool, gets pretty boring, and is still reminiscent of the sprawling, nature-esque landscapes you see in the rest of the game. Providence's final stage was super cool because it was industrial and a huge shift compared to the natural environments you're used to seeing in the first game. That's why I think the final stage should be a huge city. Not only is that very different from the rest of the environments you're used to seeing and makes it super unique, but it also makes sense for the lore too. Mithrix has been chilling for a millennia on the moon, and are you telling me he's literally been doing nothing in all that time? I mean, it makes sense, king of nothing, but really? He wants to make a perfect society of constructs that are strong, then why wouldn't he spend his time making that perfect world where he is? He can't go anywhere with them, sure, but when the time comes that his brother dies, he'll be ready with the world that he's always wanted already at his fingertips. This large city also focuses more on the pity that the devs, I believe, were wanting to evoke too, because it shows how he truly is the king of nothing. You walk down a city that looks absolutely perfect, but there's just no one there. Mithrix is just sitting, waiting, and alone forever. Now, to answer that big why question I talked about earlier, why do we care about killing Mithrix if we're on the moon and waiting for an evac? I think that what we can do here is have the survivor shuttle come down to try and pick us up, then get blown out of the air by Mithrix's weapon. This way it tells the player there's one last test before you can leave, and it hypes up the sheer power of the challenge that you're about to face. As mentioned previously, I think his appearance could also use a rework. I get the whole King of Nothing vibe just as much as anyone else, but I don't think looking like a starter Dark Souls character is the way to go. He can stay his dull gray self, because I like how it contrasts with the vibrant outfit of his brother, but there should be some extra, I don't know, pizzazz that separates him from the gray background. I'm thinking that, in my changes, we put him in maybe some sort of worn plate armor. The dull shine from the plate armor would still give a nice contrast to the environment while still being dull compared to that of his brother. But most importantly though, the armor is practical. Mithrix, even as a king of nothing, still feels and is a king. A king shouldn't be almost naked, he should look regal, he should look badass. Also, Mithrix cares about efficiency, so why wouldn't he wear something that's practical? He makes the stone golems because they're strong protectors that have just the right amount of defense and stopping power, so he should wear something that protects him at least just as much, if not more. This next one is a bit of a nitpicky thing of mine, but I think that he shouldn't have had a hammer to be his signature weapon. Mithrix focuses on being ruthlessly efficient, like I said before. He focuses on formulas and precision, so I don't think a hammer really gives off that vibe. I think that the best sort of weapon that could fit him would be something like a spear. A spear reflects that precision that he likes so much, but it's also strong and efficient at what it does. Honestly, because I also like weapons that are also less used, I'd say it would be rad if he had something like a naginata or a podao, but that's also just a personal preference thing. I think that any spear-like weapon would fit him really well. So hey, that pretty much wraps it up for all my recommended Mithrix changes, and just to tie everything together, let me go over the ideal scene of what it looks like in my mind for all you guys. You just came out of the 5th stage, barely fighting off the bosses and the enemies that spawned. The teleporter is lined up to the moon, where the captain told you would be your evac point. You've collected as much cargo from the contact light as you could, and you've confirmed that the contact light and its survivors were destroyed. Beaming your way to the moon, you find yourself land in a metropolis, with towering skyscrapers made of the same milky rock of the moon. You walk over to the nearby park and deploy your distress beacon, signaling the captain to your location. You see the transport shuttle arrive, but before it lands, you see a blinding flash as a spear punctures a hole clean through it. The transport shuttle crashes into the park, its equipment fried. You know you can't make the repairs with whatever shot your ship down roaming around, so you go to the Moonrock Palace, walking through the quiet and empty streets that are only broken by the occasional lunar chimera, guarding its desolate home. There, on the throne, you see a man in shining silver armor, though worn, resting. He wearily stands before entering his strong battle stance, wielding his summoned naginata. Through a grueling fight, you've beaten him, the king of nothing. He slumps to the ground, defeated, as you turn and return to your ship. The constructs stay away from you now, unsure what to do now that its master has been destroyed. As you walk back to the wreckage, the screen fades to white. On your screen is the sentence, "And so he left, with a new tale to tell." Well, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you want to see content kind of like this in the future. If you want to see me actually play through these games, then follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/liquidexodus. If you want to just hear me sort of shitpost and talk around, then follow me at Twitter @liquidexodus. All the links are down below. And I hope all of you just have a nice, comfy rest of your day or night. I'll hopefully see you around soon. Bye-bye.